Abo no nsia ebusuafo ya mamunyina jo ya mamwatna se edeba fache TV so enwumre so ensema sisi ewo oman Ghana mu ebi ni ato ebo ase aboabo no afri ensem trefo pno so amasamufo asone sokrogen ebra so se mo apese makafo ye bekenkan edesomo yenhye etifinsem ne bi Amampani John Dramani Mahama Echremua Baby asese Ghana sika sem ne ntoto ye edro ne ho aseda nyina komanya mefri se eye nadomuntra Sana Edom Kuma atne ensa ewo Mampani John Dramani Mahama ne NDC aban so wo kire se Koko ebo ya sese ewo ho no enkoyie nti ase won mo ya abo akuafo kro Ena emebunu ya won mo ewo Gadangme Gan Youth Forum won mo nso apeja franka akoko wo se aban se wo the AI tools e be kirade wo suku mu a eye dan ena Gadangme kasa no wo mu yi efrim Ebusuafo wenom eni afoforo pi anwumre ni nyina dika edi hweditie ena yebebe edi asomodon hwiri yimo ewo fache TV so midin edi AFIA tumwa Kaakyire anwumre menimenu abema
Obrempong Lisbon Perry
Yesha ensem no ase ewo Mampani John Dramani Mahama akache na wode atu dwase baabi asese Ghana sika sem ne ntotoe ejinanom enema nyina ekoye nanso enye na ho odin bi na mom twedi ampo Nyankopon adom ena waboa na nhihya hodo a NDC aban ba ye won mudigu akwan mu a eye economic recovery nhihya no wogidi sa aboa pa ahyase no ano omode ba no na wono kra wo suro kakra enim se ebetumi aye adwuma na mansunsanso abaso a beye emfie mienu nanso wo hya ne se afepepe panie Ghana fo nyina edi adanse sesikasam ene ntotoye ekoyie na wo hia buburu a anka ne na edokro Ghana fo nyina no brase no a na ese wode aseda emanyankopon wode asemi etudwa ewo enase asum bi adwumaku ede Sky Group ehihye yase ewo nkran.
It is not by my mind, and that's why I say every human being must be anchored in something, and that something must be your faith. I've been at this job before. When we came into office, the crisis that faced us was very difficult. In my own imagination, I thought that we'll need about 2 years to begin to see a turnaround. That's what I thought. But Ebenezer, this is how far God has brought us. We're all surprised and shocked at the quick turnaround. Anytime I meet the IMF officials and the World Bank officials, they themselves cannot believe, what has happened in Ghana. So Ghana has now become the poster boy, of the IMF and the World Bank. So when they go to other African countries, they say, don't you see Ghana? Look at what Ghana has done. And that's why I say, it is only the grace of God. It is only the grace of God. I mean, to bring inflation from 23.8% to 5.4% in 1 year. I mean, how did we manage that? For the first time to see our long-suffering Ghanaian currency, the cedi, that has been taking a beating over the years. Dollars have been arrested, they've broken jail and all that. For the first time to see the Ghanaian cedi appreciate by 37% in 1 year. It's only God. It's by His grace. The IMF gave us a primary balance of 1.5%. And 2025, our primary balance is 2%, higher than the IMF gave. And so, God has been good to us. And as a nation, we must be grateful to Him. Because if we express gratitude to Him, He will bless us more. And I believe that with the Thanksgiving we're giving to God, and this year we're going to do the National Day of Thanksgiving again like we did on the Republic Day, I'm sure by the end of 2026, the whole world will stand and be clapping for Ghana.
Wa shese afipepe penye niemeni adani ebutu. Ahochire ni hobiem na IMF fokra age won monsem asemi enye nwanwa. Mampani John Dramani Mahama to aso a no oda no adi se enchekra won mosan e de apomden hye foforo eba. Na bronisi non-communicable diseases enyarewa bi wo ho a eha omanfo pa na so enye nsan yade. One more de sa healthcare initiative neba no de abeso sa enyarewa ni nyina ano.
We need to change our lifestyle, but most of all, we must take our medical checks seriously. One of the major causes of kidney failure is hypertension, high blood pressure. And there are many people here who I think have probably never ever gone to a doctor and said, measure my blood pressure. But continuous chronic blood pressure eventually destroys your kidneys. And that's why we want to introduce the primary health care. Because in every community, there will be community coordinators who will go from house to house with a simple sphygmanometer and measure your blood pressure and be able to tell you if your pressure is high. And so this year, we will launch the primary health care. And if the village and community coordinators come around, measure your pressure. They'll also test your sugar to see if your blood sugar is high. So that if it is, then you can go to your community pharmacy. We're going to have generic drugs there which are cheaper, and you'll be able to buy and take those drugs so that you're able to prevent non-communicable diseases. We also have the Mahama Care. This year, the Minister of Finance allocated 2.1 billion cedis to Mahama Care, which will be mainly for non-communicable diseases, for persons with stroke, for persons with kidney ailments, for persons with other cancers, and so on. The thing about those diseases is they are so expensive to treat. And so if you get a family member or a relative who comes down with stroke or has cancer, breast cancer or cervical cancer, the treatment is very expensive. And normally, however rich you are, in the effort to save your life, you virtually spend all your resources and become a pauper. And that is why government has to come in to support.
Sebejafie edom kuma wonum ewoho aka won ho bom de won satene Ghana ban ya John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency edano na wonsem a wo kan nyina ene se Ghana ban ya His Excellency John Dramani Mahama dano no wo ya ye obi a woni nokure emfa ma akuafo mekire koko akuafo efrise ebra na wo ye wo bontoa afi 2024 na wahwese Ghana beto ba ma no wasise bo bebre edeka ema Ghana akuafo se esefata se woto abama no ba wobehwese koko ne bo ene ehonsem kaye ebetumi agina brane na aboa akuafo pa nanso enye no na woye eno namso bi ama Honorable Dr. Isaac Yaw Opoku eno ede ensem bi atudwa wabra wosiaye holding government account press conference ya ekoso bonkran pomponi mantem ana ode sansem we atudwa
Honorable Eric Opoku zombekaya ofra kuafo nyina de omko dade so aba kuafo nyina so omoto aba na manwa kuafo 6,000 cedis per bag ana kuafo no busan se ni awoken wogidi osese ya bana se yantumi anya ya na koko no na ye hwan dia nti samotoma ya de beko 6,000. What are we seeing today? what are we seeing today? And then a bag of cocoa, I have 3,625. I'm promise bonus in well, we know that you never made the manifesto no be ba. Promises I can see our every cocoa region, the basic processing factory, every cocoa region. Basic cocoa college. Yes, that's what the government manifesto. We have 4 huge promises, and then we have 4 the amendment and fee. So 3,625 from November. For the first time, I could afford to be any brunya. For the first time, I could afford any brunya. Now, can you be frame? I've been named soup. Also, I told Coco $100. The year prescription man. Continental. And just on this go, I told Coco $100. A phone be over say because we got 3,625. What mom is saying? Yes. Huge discount. None the other money be no at home. And this our promise in the milk you for. Money of your phone in the year cry. As I said here, now yet to tell you, if you can see that. Now yet to tell you, if you see that. Say a percent price in the Quran, I had 3,625. Yes, I bought it.
Esane ojabrane ya enra enyumre eto sofolai fitemu na wonmonia menyina shame dwadifo ho akyere wo munti asante mantemu soafo Dr. Franka Mwakohene ahye atorenchembremu aboafo National Disaster Management Organization nadmo mpanimfo se enimanimu ya wonmunsi fom na wonhwe niama ahodo a asa mebo ho amane ase de beya abandemwa ebeko Franka Mwakohene ebo anan eko fitemu ho kɔhye baby a eja eto ho no na wo kasa no na wo kire se ya de a eni kwan sempani fortuna se ehwe ema ne sie Ebraimus wo hu se eja to baby a omaidum jajuma ekuo Ghana National Fire Service no ya na wo mo ha ni sinto bebre e wo dwumadiem ebi te se fire tenders a won mo eni bie entini nyina ban e be hwe aso ano se de be ya adaache oman ne kuta hwenhwen e wo jam wo mbenya mfidie di akọ Dr. Frank Amwakohene ensemni.
Okay, so usually when these things happen, the human aspect of it is one of the issues that usually we need to be seen doing, comforting and providing support for people who are affected. So I want to thank my MC. Yesterday he was on the grounds together with the fire department. I want to thank them as well and the police to make sure that usually when these things happen, people will go around stealing and all the other things. Yesterday, together with the help of the youth here, they were able to put everything under control. I've instructed that the NADMO does an assessment of everything that has been burnt and has been raided by the fire. Following that, we'll be able to know the entire value of everything that has been lost. Then we'll be able to know how we'll be able to mobilize both at the side of government and also on the side of the community and see how we'll be able to support them. So as we speak now, today is just a day after. I wouldn't be able to give you a quotation of a figure or whatsoever, but I can assure you that whichever form of support that government needs to support, we are there to make sure. Yesterday, a similar news went rounds, but as we came here and clearly from chairman, about 34 cars were involved, which brings down or lessens the burden on us all. So basically, that is the information we have as at this moment.
Fire station is just here, just about 300 meters walking distance from the fire scene. There's no fire tender there. Isn't this something that we should be concerned concerned about.
Yes, it's a source of worry. And for that matter, usually when these things happen, then it comes up for discussion and it goes back to die. Fortunately for us, when the incidents of the Adum PZ and all that came up, we made a strong case. Thankfully, with the intervention of the Interior Minister and with the support of the President, Honorable Atufosin made an announcement that we procuring 100 fire tenders to support the fire station. Procurements and definitely public financial management will request that due diligence is done. So as we have seen, President hand over the cars for the police, the military, among others. Definitely when the 100 fire tenders are ready, Ashanti region, our share of it definitely will be available to us. So as I assure the crowd, definitely when those vehicles are ready, definitely as I appeal to the President, Ashanti region is more like next to Accra in terms of all these streets and all these threats, whoever has fire or fire risk is concerned. So most definitely, I'm sure that the President will look at all these and see the distribution so that our districts who do not have the fire tender will be able to have access to these fire tenders, to be able to support them. Yesterday, as I got the report, we had to get the one from Komfanochi to come in all the way. And the driving distance, even from there to here, would even surpass about 10-15 minutes, bearing all the traffic and all that. So if we have one here, the most definitely when issues of this nature happen, definitely we'll be able to attend to it rapidly. So President is recommending.
Ora Peter Bagrebon so municipal coordinator Manadmo Kwada so. What the Anobansam Emma or Manfo or near Marshall so one Kawakuman to a yempen in first for moi. What shall see Buhun Contano and Che and Wabeba Nemum. Obia man and in our prebremo anyway, be big to a binek of Fedja Abba to a month 1 year as a year.
Me buy na me busha and to me shame Finhan na omo bobo awura na mushi wura no nti aso mushi wura na ase gane no ati nti gane no din nti ama nipa no so penso edum no nto ye na ntimi nto kini so penso ase masala tibi o ase o kwa so chansu no kwa na matum papo no nti abata nto shambai so for sha nti ase ikabi dan ho ne gane sokan nti maka ne paya na ade oyele ebatu parashe municipal nti ama adane isu ni awroho eka nipa afri omonema cash asi ebimu sikasi ebumi ni mabibiri asi nti anapai nti machaba nti mafre ansi ona nkwamoba ninse omoba na yaka tripom hache sisia yabaya babua de omonema esino de kan de ayatru de nti fa service de yamini kureni omogi ma de omoba odinga kara na aya the whole world Ghana be issue yet say ya mampeni President John Mahama na no omoka se omaye sisia batonto afa service de timi ko bibia nti omogusu yetutua nti afa service bi wa hase ono so photo wom nti na no ye tansi ye meeting se kwan abafa so a amato ama fa service ni sale nyegima krakra mboya nti yegusu yetutua na oyele isaba sie no nti anya sadia ntembia no aya Ghana issue no issue no so ya kase yanti mentena ha che yabata ha ma sadia ya fa hai ma cha ne menena kwosho nti kwan ba fa so ma bo ho Ghana ho bandia ya ba fa so ba bo ho Ghana ho ban nsabisu dia ba kan ho se nipa omobibia odidi o hantia acho mosumo hia ho ye nti tembia no bibia o kodire wa hano asetembia no ho ache kwambia so a obabo ho oni ho ban ache uti ha tiche ya ba etiti no
sɛdeɛ ɛmabunu yɛ a wɔnom wɔ ɔman Ghana mu asoa wɔn men na wɔsɔre a aposifoɔ ne wɔn a wɔbɔ ban wɔ ɔman Ghana mu ne wɔsɔre a na wɔgu wɔn so abridambrada na no bi na sɛ yɛkɔpie mu wɔ asante mantam mu amansie central mansini no emu Jacobu asem ena mekan eno ena nano fiada ene wokopiem wo ho no mo a aposifo yese wonum kọ na wakodi wonjuma se wobehwe na wabo Ghana eho ban na wabo yensu wansuwa ne nneoma ahodo a ewo oman ne mu ho ban ti wokopiem wo ho firi se wotiye wonyanentiye se garamse ekoso ewo ho na bra aposifo koduru honum na mabunu ya wonum so ewo Jacobu ene ne mpotamu na wodi juma ewo honum ya yesusu se wonum eye garamsefo enso eye se wone wonum ene aposifo ekoje etuo bi firi abranti a wodi mfinhia no edunum ensem pump action gun ena wakoje firi abranti yi ensem enam saso ema emabunu a wonum ewo Jacobu eka won ho bomu sene wobekọ aposifo ne so na wakoje wontuo eno enam so ma aposifo enso esane etubrane edigu mranti yi so ema mu baako ehwere ne nkwa na ona akanso pinoa eprepraye ma wodi wonum ekogu asupiti na eno enam so ema regional minister honorable Frank Amwakohene edi nano ato asem yi mu bi aka ho asem.
It is unfortunate, and I must condemn without any fear of any contradiction that you can't mobilize an attack men in uniform. It is not movable. And I mean, that confrontation was avoidable. Okay, as I was engaging with one of your media this morning, the police have a mandate, and clearly, yes, on that day, they were going on a tip-off from one of the communities on issues of illegal mining. So when they passed by that site, they saw a 15-year-old with that pump action gun. So they approached and found out why a minor would be holding such a weapon. So they seized the weapon, and then they came in. I mean, the other workers came in that they have all the licenses and all that. But if you have the license, you can't still leave it in the hands of a minor. So they decided that, okay, they should produce the papers, which they couldn't, and they instructed that, okay, they will send the weapon to the Jacobu police station, so they will come there so that they sort everything out. So they passed, went to undertake their operations, and on their way back, the youth blocked the road, and that confrontation ensued. To the extent that you go and then take the weapon from the custody of a police officer, I want to run away with it. I mean, so yes, I mean, any cause for a loss of life is regrettable. So my condolences to the family, and my MC over there has engaged with the family, though they are remorseful and they want access to the body. I want to assure them that it will be fast. However, investigations and due process must be executed. And also assure the youth that if you have any problem, do not confront the police. The police is your friend. So for that matter, if there are any issues that borders on your right whatsoever, there are legally available channels so that you'll be able to assert your rights instead of mobilizing and attacking men in uniform. So yes, it is regrettable. We are engaging the community to see how best we'll be able to get their cooperation and be able to make sure that the right investigations are carried.
And now no fear that Pepombo Someda Netos what you know me and Sam. Oswafo a wo hwe ngomesua so Haruna Idris Kotro on the Facebook page say na say generative AI summit bi ekoso ema wone openi kase a woda Google ano ehia ye twetwe nkomo bebre na asem nyina ne se won mommo asa de be ya wonam abefo ekwan asese wonam so ye niam ahodo ya artificial intelligence so ebepeja Ghana kasa ahodo adesua emu amane ba ye no emebunu kuo bi a won crime antem a wode Gan Youth Forum wo mo ye ohweboku wo mo boafu ya wo kasa se sa AI tools no a wo mo de be kira de no wo mo bomoden ahwehwemu ahu se Gan adangbe kasa no ebinim na wo mo bisa Minister for Education say the crime antem ene Gan adangbe manfo nyina ye ede aboa Ghana mpuntuo no aso anso won mani ya niam ti say ekoso won mo emu won fere won ti why Gan adangbe kasa no afri mu na wo ma press conference and wo kire say ni mu ya ministry no enyansiesie anya saa won mo ebo enso
indefensible given the historic role of the Gan language in Ghana's educational development. As early as the 17th, 18th, and particularly the 19th century, the Gan Adangbe language was already highly developed, becoming the first Ghanaian indigenous language in which literacy, and arithmetic books were published. Among the earliest of their kind in the country, these facts are well documented in the Kole Meet Sesi, a historic survey of the development of the Ghana literacy by Philip Tete Lai. Furthermore, in 1866, the complete Ghana Bible was published, being the first in Ghana and in the sub-region of Africa by Johann Zimmerman, underscoring the language's long-standing scholarly, literary, and intellectual foundation of the Ghana language, depicting that Gadangbe is therefore not a minority or peripheral language. We place emphasis on this. The Gadangbe language is not and cannot be and will never be a minority or a peripheral language in Ghana. To the fact that its omission from this landmark AI education rollout, whether or not a pilot project, reinforces a supposed long-standing pattern of linguistic marginalization and accelerates the erosion of the Gadangbe language, pushing it into dangerous closer to extinction. Wakalyomo atona animal. Wakalyomo atoni animal. Ni watansi as Ghana Youth Forum. I know Gadangbe Youth Forum. Watansi koni wakalyomo. Niti wasikwani yomo. Ameo.
Ebusiafo Ghana Youth Forum for enhyemu echi no osoafo a wohwe nwumesua so Haruna Idrisu edianu yie aba.
Here to give him my firm assurances and the assurances of the Ghana state that it will be unthinkable for government under President John Dramani Mahama, with me as his Minister for Education, to think of the integration which must reflect our diversity as a people. Every society is its culture, and language is at the forefront of the definition of that culture. And therefore, it will be unthinkable for government to roll out any indigenous language policy and exclude the Ga language. So, Nitaki through the second, be assured that I would not supervise that, and President Mahama will not tolerate nor accept that. Beyond what President Nkrumah did to promote multilingualism in our country, I have been at the forefront of the use of indigenous language to be at the center of our education learning curve. I will continue to maintain same whilst recognizing that English remains our official language and our language of instruction at all levels. There's an Oxford literature I have read which assures me why the Ga language and 12 other languages, if I have your permission, Akwapim Tree, Asante Tree, Dagbani, Dagari, Dangme, Ewe, Ga, Gonja, Kasim, Nzima, Grunle, and Mfanti. And more importantly, we're even trying to include sign language as our 13th official language. So if you've seen me here, let me give you further assurance that before March, the end of March this year, I will convene an indigenous language conference on education, and that you have my invitation today to come and chair that conference in Ghana and for Ghana. We will be inviting the like of Kwisipra, one Ghanaian expert that I'm yet to make contact with, to come and present papers on the integration of indigenous local Ghanaian languages. The There is evidence, as I have stated, from an Oxford publication that learners who use their indigenous local language do better, and their phonetics are better. And there is evidence that it has improved learning outcomes. So, my assurance, I know that in the last 24 hours, whilst I was on my trip in London, it is true.
Abusia Owura Haruna Idrisu eyesofo ohwe nwumasua so wosi ensida se wonmo ebetu na mo bi eti se ye ne obeyi ga kasa no efre mu nti obi anka na koma nto ne yem adwobre aban ebetu anamo papa obi akoma beto ne yem wesu ne yegina ne ahome kase so age enkrato ye ba ebeto aso.
Sechere Dumase Okopiemu ewo honom a ye nuanom ya wonum eda eneduafie won so abambofo Sabi biaya wode won tiri beto won dabrem ayedin pa ewo honom na enam so ama mansini krachi panyini ya wowo mansini numu ene Ghana Prison Service wonum panyina woda won ano ma me patient bafo boni ene nananom atenankonya ya wonum ewo ho aka won ho abom atwa so de mu ahwese wobebo modin na wokukuru edan tampa kase ede esi ho sede beya ebeboa ama abambofo ya wonum ehwebo yenuanom ya wonum eda ne duafie ho ban no wonso atimi anya baabi ede wonti ato na ebra ohen popro ya ono ena eda ahemfo a ewo honom ano berima osei hwede ya wotoso mienu ejura hene ekasa na ode ensem bi etudwa na okire mu sei esefata pa se yebetumi akeka yen ho na yaka yen ho abom se de beya yebetumi adi dwumaso a etisei ede aboa a prison for
ye weni ade a ya ma security for nko a ye ne mo kasa yi ba bia soja for de o mutrito na nanom ye ne ye ya popo o maba o mte ye ne soja for ne tedra division headquarters na nanom ye ne kofa ba ye si danesi ho ba bia fire service for da na nanom ye ne kofa ba ye si danesi ho ba bia ya district doctor ya doctor o hwe ye mansi so a ye yare a wo ye panie yes, see, down 5-bedroom story. Nana no see it. Yes, man. Because Nana in pay for 3 years, man, who yenti. Sabi, Obicha is in poor. Yenta new. Yet the 2 horses in the year development upon you. MC Banos Nana, I feel there. Foot to foot, men one echo. Who must pay, let me grow, who must pay, let me grow. MC assurance for them, I'm seeing that. You know, my friend, I'm so noble. The okay, and I feel no madam over internet. Asa na ba bia me ko bia maja mi di wachi zion wasi dia na ne be go na blocks no pro besa te mo ma mo du blocks na ma ye zion wasa ye check drawings from the headquarters zion and you could see say ya prepare ankasa ye be boa security there o be kan na no a na waka security zion ye mfa ye security enia ye wo immigration office eso wa ha and so yakwaje ho letter premier from yakwaje letter ne ba ye ye nya MC so ba ye obon ho modi bia so be pese letter ne ba ne be ye duma e yetmesi office complex kese ama migration force e mo letters ni na egu MC table so enti no sha all the security organs ni na ye obi wadira ha wo mo show uniform and wo mo show uniform ni na no e bi wadira ha because be ma ba bia me ye duma no ministry for the nam inti minimum faswa e wo security ho me na wo ye na kwa pesafo wo hina okoya mbefa ni tuo no woni mpanifo hia okasemi
edan kese a ne tenten ene ne kese edan ahodo a ewom no ebeye ahanu ne aduonum ena mpanifo ekukuru asi ho ede ama Ghana Prison Service ebeye a wonum benya baby ede wonti ato ne nam so ema panimpa ya wono eneda Ghana Prison Service ano mame patients bafo boni enso ede enigye ene asidansem eko ede ma empanimfo wo anamontuo hodo a watuo no.
For too long, my dedicated officers have endured the physical, financial, and emotional strain of commuting over 18 kilometers daily, in and out. This project directly addresses one of the welfare needs of our officers. It tells our officers and the community of Edra that their well-being matters to all and sundry, especially Nana Edra mine. For this compassionate and pragmatic intervention, we will be eternally grateful. And to all those who have endorsed the project and have committed, I have a firm belief that we will go beyond the commitment today. Going into a bit of history, I wish to mention that the source for the construction of this beautiful camp prison by the Church of Pentecost was on the 3rd of May 2019 and commissioned on the 11th of May 2021. It was a record-breaking construction project, and we cannot celebrate this day without acknowledging the commitment of the Church of Pentecost. So, Pentecost did what it could, and Onana Mining has also come on board to give us the accommodation components, which sword cutting we are seeing on this day, 22nd of January 2025. 2026. I know within the shortest possible time, we will come here just as we have gathered to hand over and take over the keys to the project. Somebody says Nisha. Yes, Nisha. I have to mention that this partnership with EDRA perfectly aligns with the new shift we are championing across the country, which is Think Ghana Presents 360 degrees. I'm sure you've heard about it, but what is it? It is an initiative.
Mansini Kaakyire panyin ya wono wo adwira secretary dumase mansini no mu enso eji ensem ne bi etuja na wo kire se hwe senka mansini bia ahemfo ene abanmu enipa ebeka won ho bom a enkebeboa ama mansini no empuntuo atimi akonenim say
political dispensation at the local level many member of parliament we are brothers at times we come together and do one project at times assembly no any MP yes support to project we would
Yeto akasia no so wonsem foforo mu enchakra na MPP amanyoku no won mo kosia ato abade ayi won franka tuni na enkomodie ya enna ejadifo ye wokumase Central Market akopeja asembiaba Ashafo bekaya bra na MPP amanyoku no wa bemu na Samira Baumia woye oba apani otoso mienu ewo memu frise nyukunu eye vice president nti atsesam ene se ohye ema abrosan bia eto asudu ya ore bia wade George Oti no ye MPP financier ne dia ewo East Legon ho won mu jira abrosan nyina gu fam wei ena kumase edwom adwadifo no ese sabre na Samira Baumia woye second lady na empanisi apronkuma egu enhranimpo ena etikuma bribra na ebeso enti Samira Baumia eye second lady na sabre watumi aham wo madwura brosen atiseye agudi a ni kunu eba beye president no beye first lady dia obeye dia bru safe sabre wodi ni tumi no ema ne broso dodo ebremu a MPP abato pempen so ba no mo de awura 2028 no edwadifo ne gidi se edidimbo ne ebema MPP amanyokuo no nipa wojina wo mo na mu ekasa ye Deputy Chief Imam awo Asunadi South District Mohammed Isa Ababio wasi saa na montuo no ekọ so sabre no entwaye no kwasem so mugidi se be ha MPP dachibi
Ansentamo aye papa Kwame Bafu aye friend abronye odi ensem bi ye debey abetu ga say nyina ye pani aye George Oti Bonsu our sponsor MPP party anopa awia anwumre na ansentama Hajia Samira tama na MPP tna abanja so omukoko dwiri ni dan gu ye me kire Samira na bronsan mako edu odirigu ye no Kwame Bafu de eti ye ne say wasi papa Opong enkruma kodo opong enkruma woni ya papa Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe aya bone mlani se na po sampani form yeni aka bomu ade Otibonsu ka obo ye no o matie sika na rebe amano asembusa ne se sabi ye papa Dr. Matthew Boku Prempe otiase saa ne papa kojo opon kroma so de be etiase munko busa abronye se na nka o matua sika ne de ama na nka asem ne kokot eye court ne koko bua se baomia ne yira tumra ana hajia baomia tumra enti amma otibonsu ye papa George otibonsu eye 50 million Ghana cedis na musa abronye osaka asem bi se edan na mbubugu ye no hajia Samira yedabay enimu we asembusa mi se hajia Samira ni lawyer ya friend Kofi Abochi musa se eyadan ana Kofi Abochi no otun safre ya papa George otibonsu otun safre ni lawyer a omuhia ye se eka biara George otibonsu abro onfa ehone se yedabay emra na nkaya dia ka Dr. Matthew Boku Prempe eni papa opon kwadon kuruma etua sikane mana enka lawyer ne basa to inside be afro mana court kurampo buaye se omoma papa George otibonsu 50 million Ghana cedi no ba omia no yira sa akwa api oma kwa api e kire se omu vita na sebe omu di bibi mpo bibi na de tie ne de gira so di kasa ne ene se ente MPP kotoba 31st day of January na ye mama Samira ebo aprabo no ena okopie mu okasoa ne kasa mu ne se MPP for no ayi Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia Rebey ama na de yewa enya odanu memfa Rebey enya unia eno na ne yaboko jan ede kire Haji Samira se na ni kru ye vice president ana no ye second lady eso de mrasha ni nsam ekobiri otibonsu da Rebey etugui otisa asante kasa no Rebey asiana ne de yew na enya odede a ade de yewa enya odanu omfa nye unia de a mpanifo ase krokoto yagase krokose diabiem krokoto yagase krokose ana sabe hoho onto abonte diaben epunumu ana sabe adehye nkoya nkoa ema hoho mafuru mponko yedaben entraso se yeye omamba pa asam no yedi ho yawo tini yedi famfrema mu se so no hoho mpo etunu beto diaben abonte mpunumu a krokoto anya krokose tete bon wisie onkobusa tete ntrede eye sabe ya mame ajima kunadu nko busa ye mame Lodina mama no busa first lady for nyina obi ampo ni ho
abusuya de oreyi ekan na ebinu bisa se aso Samira Baumia de MPP fo aba kwa mu betu ni kunu na apribie na samu a etwemu nkesi musen ena opani no omo hunu ne se ba bia wo keka asam ne kro na nko pasempa na aka na nso wantumi anye bold amfa asam no enwo akwan mu ti Baumia ene ne yire ya hoho a wo moto abonten punumu dia ene na kire se kumase adwadifo emfa wonom ho adwene de na wo kan akosia no ena wantumi amfa koto anye nkwan ti dache ena abato no a epempe so ba no achie no ye behunu wo manu di nsem biemu a wombesan ede atodwa Obrempong to asoe
na se ye to aso dia na ne aban yi ya His Excellency John Dramani Mahama edano wono so wadi juma bi pa na de wo ye nyina ne se ukọ National House of Chiefs metre ahempopro ya wonum ewo omai Ghana mu a wo sika bi a wabo ede ato honum ede boa se de be ya wonum asenie hodo ebetumi agina brane na akọ nanim na boa ma asumdue atimi atena Ghana ene ne montamu ahodo eno enam so ama ebra wopanyin pa Ahmed Ibrahim Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Eden Sembi atuja say akane no na ye 30,000 Ghana cedis na yedema ahimpopre se wonye na wonfamwa eni asema asumdue emra ene Ghana ban apejam ade ko 50,000 Ghana cedis eye say ebeboa ama ahenie eni asenie atimi akosopa.
I'm aware that this House continued to discharge its constitutional mandate under challenging circumstances. Concerns have been brought to my attention regarding the inadequate financial allocations for the effective adjudication of cases within the Regional House of Chiefs. And to resolve this, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, has taken steps and has therefore increased the quarterly allowances for the adjudication of cases from 30,000 Ghana cedis to 50,000 Ghana cedis per quarter, effective 1st April 2025. Togbe, this is not an easy thing. To jump in the financial increment from 30 to 50 to all the regional houses of chiefs is not an easy task. But John Mahama has done it and has delivered. And I strongly believe that this will go a long way to help in the expeditious adjudication of cases in our regional house of chiefs for timely sitting and regular releases of this fund to make sure that the number of chieftaincy disputes in our country is reduced. I'm also aware of the shortage of essential and sub-professional staff, including bailies, security personnel, and cleaners. And this poses operational, administrative, and security challenges to the smooth functioning of the House. Myself and my good brother, the Honorable Minister for Rules, have discussed this. Last year, we wanted to take a step, but the budget couldn't contain. This year, too, we made a move. It couldn't. But I strongly believe that if we go and sit down with our finance minister, he will prioritize these limited skeletal numbers that we need to be able to augment the staffing position of our traditional councils. Togo President, these challenges go beyond administrative inconvenience. They directly affect the efficiency, dignity, and effectiveness of the chieftaincy institutions, and by extensions, peace and development within our communities. Let me assure you that the government remains committed to strengthen the capacity of our regional houses of chiefs. Through the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, we will continue to engage relevant stakeholders to explore practical, sustainable, and realistic.
Asante Mantemu for Dr. Frank Amwakohene and Napamfo. Eso omude jumadie bi eba Asante Mantemu ha watu di Ashanti Expo 2026 intine one ma pahonto mana jumadie wane asoya ehye adwadie ni mfirijuma so na eka bomu na won maye. Entuma pa jumadie no ase no Dr. Frank Amwakohene kasaya no se wamu nam sa jumadie so ebe hye emebunu ya wa Asante Memu den. One ma woman kasa biebie wonwuma wane a afei na wo fefe eba ewo enwuma biemu said ye beya wode wo ho hye sa kwanyan mu a wono mo ebetumi ene enwuma ewura no makese a beba ase no so adi nkomo na aye akwanya kese ede ama wonom a ahihye sa adwumadie ye organizers no ede ato entrepreneurs wo oman Ghana mu nyina enim titu ni Asante Memu se ebra no eso a obi a emphasize akwanya no so niama wonma ye nyina obetumi dia ba ho no abehwe okesi ama wonma a ebehwe no abehwe na womanfo so atobi eba no sa wonmo benya sika e de atoa wonmo dada enwuma so na Asante Mantam so afo ekasai
e bese pro ni mumie ni e mabuni na adwumanwe na nkofo so wo sika ehye dem no munyi mpie na etimi mu amakuru no mu enyede emi ko na me kase yen na no bebre wa brochira omusika omunindu omode ye bi ko de ba so bi fanya adwuma mo ma ko dania na atese nemo yen na busuafo e wo ha e wo onumai na abaye tumi atai o maji na wo so mo krata asem ni bibia ye kama no obi wa brochira no osika ni mo di hye mo wonim se e ya bia o sika hye mo fa so be do obi fi mo ba obi susu o ba bi de bia oni Ghana ha enyama bi wa Asante Memu ha na Ghana ha e ye ne fe obeso onya bi wa brochira obeso onya bi wo kuroma kwa be na obefa so oto a obeti yenye ni nyina ya atwe nyina da ere akwa command in terms of exporting nipa do na nim eho nim die eno na Ashanti Expo ya de ba abemeki sure say yishia o Jubilee Park ni prepare assembly ho ha industry bia benya adatu no ma tretiri ebe ya enfa wona say de wa share with Jumadie na se no so we so form a partnership and also obi ni sika beka ho and also we dey ofu ni aba ko amanone anaga na ha ba bia kra mbelifu ebe ba no bi no betritiri mu na etinya boa na anye yi meka ni nyina na meka asa dia ko so e de aka say president na ni wo eye boankra inland port no ba oni mi amini aba Elizabeth ofusu dai ama trade minister ba ama menene ni no akotu for eba eye industrial park na litigation you want say no ye no otunfo aka otunfo ene ahemfo ne mpanyifo le stakeholders wo no edi won koma omo we kwa on be fa so asase be available ni atini aye industrial park no ho adwuma once aye kese say no be le kono Yatro ma districts ni na say obi a was asị kama yantam da ho fenfa woni nti ye distract ye the contracting da drop.
We no mwachi no kwaku menu Ghana sini twani wono nso kasa ye se asanteme nyaade papa ewo Dr. Frank Amwakohene emu ento obi anta na chi titru sa Ashanti Expo 2026 edane duru ho manfo nyitwi enkwata akire emane nyefe
before Papabi omuku omse hello nipa wo kono na ebo content ko hwenye de oba times no agogo meba ofia ejina baba ye naka oba kwasi ase bi no enene ade bia ba bia wo obo mbenya so benefit ya so faso no so ya benefit Asante Fest dinu kweda so kra kasa etine da so kra kasa say nya say Asante Fest ni ma na ujo ma Ghana si ye no nkra po ye no poliga ye no ye fafra na ye ya ma Ghana because ye ni ye wo kumasi ye wo nkra ni ada bi na ya fafra se Ghana. It's a good idea. So what is and the person of father say you know why are they say what they say argument you say about so what is this is abroad who na say what the abroad the idea say the yemi to ashada but why abranti and what be so abranti so by no more na abranti no ma what is idea so what is our critique normal bit me aboa youth dey no helipa no ma critique fashion show mom beton normal and we create normal be for 7 days or 2 weeks and yes it's a good idea
this time like I said second time because what was na the Ashanti Fest or the Ashanti Expo for any businesses and no say na yensi faso and just Ashanti Expo
we no say good deal one day sisi a wohwe wi ase ne baby wi ase kwa ko bi atumpo bia ready and na channel dia cover wi ase obi e di twa ko channel no ma mugure na so na ko di channel be sa nye betesa opum atene no opum on se dan community ti se obi aso pe adwuma ye aban bi apa obi apense adwuma YouTube pe adwuma ye
share Ashanti Expo nsensemi so na ye gina de kase ni nyina aba awieye enho aseda ye Millennium Construction adwumakuo no edia bibia ye fa dansie hu ohaw bia wonamo no fa ekodan wonnom na wobeboa ama woso anije awie opeye fa numbers no go screen so no na ene empanimfo enkasa Kumasi Boshen na Yas Junction ena wonnom echi kwan wo mada Roma na nwumre ye de kase abesom mo makenkan for ya ba mwakwemu eyeme AFIA tumwa ketre menne
Obrempong Lisbon Perry
yada mwase emamumo enishi